আয়ের উন্নত সমৃদ্ধ এবং উদ্ভাবনী স্মার্ট বাংলাদেশ হিসেবে বিনির্মাণের জন্য আমাদের অভিযাত্রায় যুক্ত হতে উদাত্ত আহ্বান জানাচ্ছি।
Ladies and gentlemen, we will be beginning. Ladies and gentlemen, we will. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now be beginning our session titled High-Tech and Automobile, Investing in the Future of Manufacturing, Opportunities in Automobile and High-Tech Manufacturing in Bangladesh. I would like to request you to kindly take your seats. Now, I would like to request the session chair. For this session, we have as the session chair and moderator Mr. Habibullah Karim, CEO, Technohaven and VP, MCCI. As our keynote speaker, we have Mr. Misbah-Uddin, CMO, Fair Group. As our guest of honor, we have Mr. Abdul Matlub Ahmed, former President, FBCCI. As our panel members today, we have Mr. Hafizur Rahman Khan, Chairman, Runner Group, Mr. Prasad Palsokar, CEO, Siemens Industrial Limited, Mr. Yasir Azman, CEO, GP, Mr. Arijit Chakraborty, Senior Partner, PwC Delhi, India, and Dr. Bikarna Kumar Ghosh, Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh. Now, I would like to request our session chair and moderator, Mr. Habibullah Karim, CEO, Technohaven and VP MCCI, to take over the stage for his speech. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum and good morning to you all. First of all, on behalf of the organizers, let me apologize to you all for the slight confusion this morning because the venue was changed at the last minute. But I'm very happy that you could finally find us and you have all made it to the Carnival Hall. On the positive side, this is a bigger hall, and looking at the crowd today, we probably could not have accommodated all of you in the earlier venue. So our guest of honor, Mr. Abdul Matlub Ahmed, Chairman, Little Group, former President, FBCCI, and also President, India-Bangladesh Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Our Yasir Azman, the Chief Executive Officer of Grameen Phone, the largest telecom operator in Bangladesh. Mr. Hafizur Rahman Khan, Chairman of Runner Group and a very well-known veteran of the automobile industry. Mr. Arijit Chakraborty, my dear friend from PwC, who is the senior partner of PwC India and also the managing partner of PwC Bangladesh. And Mr. Prasad Palsokar, the managing director and CEO of Siemens Industrial Bangladesh Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, we all know that Bangladesh is a country of 170 million people and a country that is sure to reach $500 billion in the size of our GDP by the end of this year. And it is already recognized as one of the fastest growing economies of the world. We all know, these are facts that most of you around the world know, that Bangladesh is the second largest exporter of apparels. But what is not so well known is that despite our very small size, Bangladesh has the highest density of any country, leaving aside city-states like Singapore or Hong Kong. But even then, we are one of the top 5 producers of food and agri products in the world. We're the 4th largest producer of fish, probably the 6th largest producer of vegetable, and we produce enough grain to feed ourselves. And what is also not known is that we are also the 2nd largest destination of IT freelancers. To set the tone for today's discussion, which is on the high-tech industrial development in Bangladesh with a special focus on the automobile industry, let me just give you some pointers in a couple of minutes. Bangladesh, as I said, is very well known for its apparel industry, very well known for its resilience, very well known for improving our social indicators over the last 2 decades. What is not so well known is that Bangladesh is also home to many world-class high-tech firms. Bangladesh's first unicorn, that is more than $1 billion valuation startup, Bikash, is now the largest mobile financial service company in the world in terms of registered users. Grameen Phone, which is the first GSM mobile operator of the country and majority owned and operated by Telenor of Norway, is a $2 billion behemoth. Pathao, our homegrown ride-hailing service, has a third of the market in direct competition with the global titan Uber. Automotive giant Hyundai and Malaysian Proton Saga have joint ventures in Bangladesh for manufacturing cars. Global electronics megaliths, Apple and Samsung, outsource VLSI chip design services to firms in Bangladesh. How many of you knew that? I'm sure none of you knew that. So Bangladesh is increasingly a destination for VLSI design services from, as I said, customers like Apple and Samsung. We have already talked about this in the past 2 days. Bangladesh today can boast of the highest rated green factory in the world, which is owned by the Envoy Group. And then again, what is also not so well known is that the US Food and Drug Administration and the EU Drug Administration have rated many Bangladeshi pharmaceutical manufacturers as the best in their class and certified to export pharma products to US and EU, among many other markets. So, with our huge trained workforce, many of whom have experience and skills working in the largest economies of the world, the G20 economies, it is now open season for high-tech industrial undertakings from automotive, active pharma ingredients, multi-layered printed circuit boards, mobile phones, specialized shipbuilding, all the way to artificial intelligence and machine learning modeling, blockchain applications, genetic engineering, and industrial automation. So, ladies and gentlemen, in this scintillating journey, we need partners from all across the globe for a proverbial win-win proposition for all. We are very privileged to have a very stellar group of speakers to shine a light on that prospect in our race to become a trillion-dollar economy in the next decade or so. So with that, let me invite today's keynote speaker. I'm sorry I didn't take your card, I understand it's the CMO of Fair Group. So would you please do the keynote presentation on behalf of Mr. Ruhul Alam Al Mahbub, the founder and chairman of Fair Group, who have business interests in electronics and automotive engineering.
Thank you, Habibullah Karim Bhai, and I'm proud to be here to represent high-tech, especially in automobile manufacturing. Actually, before I start, I would like to thank our Honorable Prime Minister for right policies for manufacturing automobile as well as the electronics, which are majorly manufactured in Bangladesh as a high-tech product. So please, next slides. So basically give electronics as well as Hyundai automobile companies. So 2017 we started the journey of manufacturing the electronics, and it includes all the electronics item from mobile to refrigerator, air conditioner, television, microwave oven, washing machine, and everything. So that's the journey started. So where everybody was thinking about whether a global brand like Samsung will come to Bangladesh for manufacturing or not. So we have taken the initiative to convince them that the Bangladesh market is quite good. Forgetting about exports in the first phase, we can cater the market and we can grow well. So they are convinced and they have come to Bangladesh. Before that, 2008, they wanted to come to Bangladesh. Unfortunately, they couldn't come, and they have gone to Vietnam. And right now, they're exporting products from Vietnam world, and they contribute almost $75 billion export business to Vietnam. We have set up a factory to manufacture the Hyundai product in Bangladesh. In January 2023, we inaugurate our products in the Hyundai Factory 2023 in the name of Hyundai Creta, the most affordable SUVs. Next slides. High-tech has got a very wide range of products as well as services and software. So what we are looking at is there are two important parts where we are doing business right now is electronics and automobile. And both electronics and automobile together are contributing sales compared to our GDP. And we believe that by making these products manufactured in Bangladesh, as well as if we can build up, can contribute a very good revenue to Bangladesh GDP. And we are also looking at, there are many other options which can be, looking at as like machineries. We import about $5 billion capital machineries every year, and we have yet to start manufacturing those machineries. And there are like chipsets, IoT, robotics, re-engineering, and computing. So computer, there are opportunity as well. We have got the here, make a new policies for manufacturing in Bangladesh, but we have seen yet to start the computer business. So we are looking forward for it. The good part, if we say that if you look into electromobile, both are in a high production in Bangladesh. Highlight on electronics market, because we've been doing it for last 5 years. If you look into mobile, where we started in 2018, the journey with the help of Bangladesh government, the policy from NBR, to get a great duty benefits. I think now about 16 or 17 companies who have got the license for manufacturing. And to let you know that within last 4 or 5 years, now in the smartphone categories, 100% of Bangladesh products are being manufactured in Bangladesh. So there is no importation of smartphone in Bangladesh. So that's what we are also looking at. Products are being produced in Bangladesh. And there are some great companies locally who have started production, like Walton, Ministers, Jamuna, Eco, Butterfly, and others. And also, simultaneously, there are global brands like Samsung, LG, Singer, Whirlpool. They have also set up the factories. So the market is crucial enough for them to come and set up the factories here. So this shows the opportunity for Bangladesh to manufacture in high-tech. Next slide. So looking at the automobile market, we are not the biggest market in the globe, because we are somewhere selling between about 30 to 40,000 passenger vehicles every year, which is one of the lowest. If you look into the penetration of the automobile, our country was a small country with a very high dense populated country, and also we have got not that much of road infrastructure been built up before 5 years back. So what we are looking at, the market is growing at a level of 20% after the COVID. So 2022, we have seen about 20% growth in market, and we are expected to grow another 17% in this year. And if you look into the CAGR, which is coming about 8%, which is a significant growth in Bangladesh for the passenger vehicles. So that is what we believe that is the key factor for the market. If you look into next slide, among the SAARC countries, we thought like we have done very well in automobiles, but if you look into the four-wheel passenger cars, we are the lowest penetrated country in this part of the world. We know that we will not be able to grow at the level of probably India or Pakistan, because they have got less populated country with number of highways and other things are growing. But we also believe that we should not be the lowest in the SAARC countries. Next slides. Now I'll tell you why. If you look into last 5 years, the government has invested heavily on road, highways, bridge, and other infrastructure. We have seen the success of bridges being established, and thanks to our government, especially our Prime Ministers, that he has or she has focused heavily on building this infrastructure. If you look into last 50 years of our independence, we have grown our highways by almost 100 times. And we are building it further. And also as a potential, Bangladesh, we all know in the rank of economy, we are going to get into a 20th position by 2037. We also have got a very good policy support for manufacturing in Bangladesh. And as I say, that domestic market is very good because, it's 8th largest populated country. What are the challenges? Automobile is a very new industry. I know that we've been producing two-wheelers, we've been producing three-wheelers, and we are also producing the commercial vehicles in Bangladesh. But the real automobile engineers are yet to come up. So we need a lot of skilled manpower and focused curriculum basically on automobiles and high-tech. That is very, very important. And even we say manufacture, we are mostly bringing the raw materials from outside. That is our key problems and key challenges. So we need to start building up our re-engineering facilities where our basic raw materials can be converted into usable raw materials, and that's why we need. And we also need research and development because the country is moving towards electricity supply, and we are looking at EV cars coming to Bangladesh, and we would be needing a lot of research and development. One thing I was sharing with one of my panel member that even with the very low-end village three-wheelers, which is do, we are still bringing the powertrain from outside of Bangladesh, and which is not, I don't think it's making sense, because these are the basic things we should be able to manufacture in Bangladesh. Next slides. So how we are looking at a roadmap of four-wheel manufacturing. So essentially, for the last 50 years, we've been importing the automobile, which is mostly passenger cars, and definitely the market potentials to grow. And now we feel that market is potential enough to start the manufacturing. So what we start as per the NBR policies, we say the manufacturing one, which is, we call it assembly. So it gives us an initial level of manufacturing ideas. It's also basically drives the affordability and generate employment. But this is a learning phase for us. And what we have done, especially on the policy side, they were saying that we need to do only the last painting. But as thanks to Hyundai that they have given us a chance to do all the paintings locally. So we are not only assembling the product, we are also doing the painting in Bangladesh. And there are about 1,050 parts which we are assembling together in our manufacturing facilities, Kaliakor. And we are looking at maybe about 2026-27, we are looking at manufacturing 2 level, which is basically making bodies. We are not investing into engines, because in future the engine will not be there anymore, because you know the EV will be coming and it will mostly be driven by the batteries and the powertrain. So electric vehicle is one of the most important part. And when we are looking at 2041 as a smart Bangladesh, we are also looking at smart mobility service. One of the things which Hyundai drives as a company is smart mobility as well. They said, car for every family doesn't mean the family has to own the car. They have to get the opportunity to have a shared drive car service for them. And definitely environment friendly. And we also are looking at driverless car in the future and drone for logistics. All these things will come when the smart Bangladesh will have the smart mobility service. Next slide, please. On the last area I want to cover, the future is electric vehicle. This is one thing we are also looking at opportunity. Still we are IC engine based country, but as a country of Bangladesh, we are always leapfrog when it comes to technology. And we believe that within next 3 years' time, the Bangladesh will see a big change in EV car. Because we are still importing the energy, whereas we have the electricity supply which is available in Bangladesh. We also are looking at better environment. We also want to look into all the smart mobility services coming into pictures. Why EV will be coming to Bangladesh? Next slide. So 2 things. One is the carbon emission impact in Bangladesh. We are having difficulties on environment area, and that's why our Prime Minister promised to make a better Bangladesh in terms of the environment. And we have got ample production of our electricity. If you look into the latest Bonik Barta coverage, this says that by 2027, our projected capacity of electricity will be 37,000 megawatt plus. And what we will use with this, the EV will actually have the facilities. So after that, the ecosystem. So what we are looking at, not only EV as a production of vehicles, but we also are looking at, there is a battery management system which comes into software and hardware. There is a charging station which has also need a lot of investment. And we also have to have an applications which will give us an ecosystems for this. And last but not the least is the e-waste management of the battery. That is also very important. So at the last, I just want to say that what are the way forward? We need to learn, because we don't have the expertise, so we all need to collaborate with the global brands, and we need to do our technology transfer, because that's where we think we will be able to grow. And EV ecosystems, I think the government has already published the electric vehicle policy, and we are looking forward for the ecosystems to be set up in next 3 years. And also incentivize consumers as well as the charging station people to invest into EV cars. And focus curriculum and development skill manpower, this is one of the important things for us. And raw material re-engineering. We believe that we need to follow the Korean model, where Korea doesn't have any raw material or any natural resources, but they still are the biggest in raw materials re-engineering. And backward linkage, I have given some of the parts where we are looking at doing a backward linkage in next 2 years to 3 years time, which includes a basic wire harness to maybe lamps and windshields and seats and bumpers and all those sort of things. So that's about it. Thank you very much. I would like to conclude by thanking FBCCI for giving us a chance to speak the keynotes, and thank you on the panelists. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Mohammad Misbauddin, Chief Marketing Officer, FDL Fair Group, for your presentation. Now, I would like to request our panelists for this session, Mr. Hafizur Rahman Khan, Chairman, Runner Group, Mr. Prasad Palsolkar, CEO, Siemens Industrial Limited, Mr. Yasir Azman, CEO, Grameenphone, Mr. Arijit Chakraborty, Senior Partner, PwC Delhi, and Dr. Bikarna Kumar Ghosh, former Managing Director, Bangladesh High Tech Park Authority, to take your seat in the dais. I would also like to request our session chair and moderator, Mr. Habibullah Karim, CEO, Technohaven, and our keynote speaker for this panel, Mohammad Misbauddin, Chief Marketing Officer, FDL Fair Group, to take your seat in the dais along with our panelists. Our today's guest of honor, Mr. Abdul Matlub Ahmed, former President, FBCCI. I would like to request you to take your seat in the dais with our panelists. Thank you.
Hello, 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 কোনটা কম? 6 কম. Hello, 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 check. 1. Hello, না না.
মানুষের জীবন কি গল্পের মতো?
আমার জীবনে আমি যা যা চেয়েছি হয় অর্জন করেছি না তো ছিনিয়ে এনেছি।
এলাকায় কোনো নতুন সুন্দরী মায়া আসলে তোর লিস্টের মধ্যে অটো আপডেট করে দিবি।
তুই তো একটা পেটতারো, তুই তো একটা প্রেভেন্ট।
এখনই শোনো আমি বড় হয়েছি।
ওই লোকটাকে থাপ্পড় মারলা কেন?
সমাজ থেকে ডর বইটাকে ছাপা।
আপা
বউয়ের অফিসে হাজবেন্ডের চাকরি করা তো ঠিক হবে না।
ও মাই গড, বিমান জামাই আমার গাড়ির সাথে ড্রাইভার কিনে নিয়ে আইছে।
আমার স্বামীকে বিয়ে করে আমাকে মা ডাকা হচ্ছে না।
প্রত্যেক বছর আমাদের একটা দিন আসে,
আমি আমার পুরোটা জীবন তোমাকে দিয়ে দেবো, তুমি শুধু তোমার জীবন থেকে 2 বছর আমাকে দাও।
খালি চোখে যা দেখা যায় তা কিন্তু সবসময় ঠিক না।
যারা ভালোবাসা নিয়ে খেলা করে তারা কখনো সত্যিকারের ভালোবাসা পায় না।
আমি মদ খাবো না।
আরে বাবা, এটা খাওয়ার সময় আমার মেয়ে মানুষের সঙ্গ প্রয়োজন হয়।
হয় মারতে হবে নয়তো মরতে, খেলতে হবে সবাইকে।
I would now like to request our session chair and moderator for today's panel discussion, Mr. Habibullah Karim, to start the panel discussion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all. First of all, let me congratulate Mr. Mesbah, the Chief Marketing Officer of the FAIR Group, for a very comprehensive keynote presentation with a special focus on the 2 areas where they are directly involved, that is in electronics manufacturing as well as automobile manufacturing that they're setting up. So thank you for that. So that has given us a lot of food for thought. So with that, let me now come to our guest of honor, Mr. Abdul Mutlub Ahmed. Matul bhai, you are not only the former president of this Apex chamber of the country, but you are the founder and chairman of the largest automotive distributor in the country. You know that we have around 5 million registered vehicles, of which 4 million, I understand, are 2-wheelers, while commercial and personal 4-wheeler vehicles account for about 500,000 each. Bangladesh has one of the lowest per capita car ownership, as we have seen in the presentation of Mr. Mesbah. Even though we have the 3rd highest per capita GDP in the region. So could you please elaborate further on the car market expansion and automotive manufacturing opportunities in Bangladesh?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to talk about automobiles. And of course, as we all know, when we talk about automobiles, it's run by petrol, diesel, CNG, LPG, etc. But you have seen that in today's program, we have clubbed automobiles with high-tech park. People are wondering why it has been done so. Definitely there's some reasons. The reason that FBCCI had chosen to tell the world that along with the global changes, Bangladesh is also changing. We are also moving towards electric vehicle. We're moving towards vehicles that use IT as a base for all its developments. We'll soon have driverless cars. We'll have cars that do not use any fossil fuel. And we'll have cars like the mobile phones. You put it on charge after you come back home. In the morning, you take it out and run the whole day. We'll soon have an ecosystem where if you go from here to Chittagong or Cox's Bazar, there'll be a number of charging stations where you can have some coffee while your car is being charged in an hour's time. The fantastic change that the world is seeing is that these electric cars and these internet-based cars, they're very, very efficient. Hardly you have any maintenance cost. And with the new system of not owning the batteries and paying for the charging or battery monthly, the cost of vehicle then becomes at par with the IC. So what we are looking now is the great shift from the fossil fuel vehicles to electric vehicles based on high tech. And this is why telecom companies come in, the IT companies come in, and now you can see IT companies worldwide moving into vehicles, car companies moving into electronics. A lot of intermix is happening in the mobility sector. But one thing is certain, the future of mobility is electric and IT based. That's where the foreign investments are needed by Bangladesh. And this is what we wanted to showcase to the world, that Bangladesh is ready to shift its gear towards the new world focus, that is electric cars with IT based. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Abdul Muttalib Ahmed, for your wonderful elaboration based on your direct involvement in this industry for the last 40 years now, right? Almost 40 years. You know the lay of the land like nobody else in this room. So thank you for that. So now let me turn to another panelist who is also from the automotive industry, Mr. Hafizur Rahman Khan, whose Runner Group is one of the largest manufacturer and distributor of two-wheelers in the country. We have seen that 4/5 of all registered vehicles are two-wheelers. So my question to you, Hafiz Bhai, is do you foresee any changes in this trend? Are people moving to electric bikes or locally made affordable sedans? And also, while you talk on that subject, can you also, throw some light on the fact that can Bangladesh become a regional exporter of motorbikes? So 2 parts to your question.
Thank you very much. Our respected chair and Matlub Ahmed, our ex-FBCCI president, respected leader of automobile sector, respected other dignitaries here present. Automobile, actually already mentioned, the automobile mean car, light, medium, commercial vehicle, heavy vehicle, three-wheeler, two-wheeler. So altogether is the total automobile business. We are in two-wheeler and three-wheeler mostly. But if we want to see the opportunity of automobile, first we have to look back that last 20 years, what type of change already happened in Bangladesh. If we see on our per capita income, in 2000 it was only $400. Now it is almost going to touching $3,000. Road size already mentioned, that it was in 2000, 50,000 kilometer, and now it is almost 300,000, but half of that is paved and half of that is still not paved. So another next 10 years, some double road is coming, expected. And in 2000, the vehicle used is about 2 million. Now the total vehicle used in Bangladesh is 10 million. I'm talking about all together, two-wheeler, three-wheeler, registered, unregistered. So there are few electric vehicles now running on the village road. That is electric vehicle mostly. mostly are not registered. However, but this is actually maintaining the movement of the village area. And the automobile actually not only carry passenger, it also carry goods also. So already mentioned that we are one of the second largest garments exporter. We became the third largest vegetable producer, fourth largest sweetwater fish producer. So many things. So all these products need to carry from one place to another. So and the number of students, school, college, university in last 20 years, it became 5 times. They are going to school, it need transportation again. So movement of the people is increasing because of the development of the economy. We are focusing mostly on my village, my town. Our Prime Minister already announced that we want to make our village with all city facilities, my village, my town, where mostly two-wheeler and three-wheeler is used. Actually, the opportunity is huge, but still we don't want to focus on the our own market. It's a world market is much bigger. Two-wheeler world market is 60 million. So why we shall focus on only our local market? So if we want to focus on world market, then it's a huge opportunity. To if we want to expand our export, increase our export, then definitely components manufacturing locally has to be developed. We are going forward, but very slowly. But already automobile policy has come, and motorcycle policy also came, electric vehicle policy also under process. So we think that in coming days, we have to focus more on components manufacturing, and that we need technical support. Investment, local investors are ready to invest. If we get the technical support from the reputed brands, then definitely we can manufacture. And many of the automobile manufacturers all over the world, they import components from different countries. India as exporter of automobile, but they are huge importer of the automobile components, like Japan and other countries also. And the government policy, as because it is coming, so we are very hopeful that in coming days more investment will come, and I want to invite the investors to come forward so that they can make a good beneficial companies here locally. And already mentioned, EV is the future. So I don't want to mention any more, but again, for EV, battery manufacturing, motor and controller manufacturing, it's not that difficult. So that is also possible to manufacture locally to take EV vehicle forward. So investment wise, we need few support from the government. One is the bonded warehouse, because if we want to export, like other garments and others, in automobile we need a bonded warehouse. And open market policy, like there's many restriction, different type of restriction is coming. But if we make it open in motorcycle, CC restriction and other restrictions should go. And now we are very much concerned about the accident of two-wheeler, three-wheeler and other vehicles. Technology can actually remove this. We are not focusing on that. There are so many technology, big companies are here. So if we focus through the technology to reduce the road accident, definitely will be successful. So from the technology side, we want support so that we can, technologically, we can reduce our accident and other things. So thank you very much. for giving opportunity to say this. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Hafizur Rahman, for your perspective on where the investments in automotive sector is going, the direction it's going, and the opportunities not only for local investors but also for foreign investors, especially in terms of technology transfer for components manufacturing. As you know, I was talking to you just before we started the session that in Bangladesh already you have achieved up to 60% value addition for your products manufacturing. But we'd like to see a day when we can claim maybe up to 90% value addition. So where the drivetrains and all other components, critical components of the automobile will have to be manufactured in Bangladesh. So for that, definitely technology transfer and know-how transfer is going to be essential. So thank you very much for that thought. And also, you said that there is a possibility to export, but for that additional policy support would be required. I believe the government is very pro-business in these kind of situations. So as the opportunity is real, I don't think there would be any dearth of policy support from the government, as we have heard from the policymakers in the last 2 days. So those, I believe, would be forthcoming. So let me now turn to somebody from the government, or immediately in the past from the government, Dr. Bikorno Kumar Ghosh, who is the immediate past Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Bangladesh High-Tech Park Authority, and he's also a retired additional secretary to the government of Bangladesh. And this High-Tech Park Authority actually manages dozens of high-tech parks strewn across the country. These parks house some of the largest data centers of the country, certified at Tier 4 and Tier 3. Many of you may not even know that Bangladesh actually is home to even a Tier 4 certified data center. Samsung, Hyundai, Ulka Semi, and many others have set up top-notch high-tech enterprises in the high-tech parks. So given that, and given your involvement with the High-Tech Park Authority for the last 3-4 years, could you please tell us about some of the most exciting high-tech ventures in the high-tech park authorities, under the high-tech park authorities? And can you also tell us about the global high-tech firms, why global high-tech firms are choosing the industrial parks under the Bangladesh High-Tech Park Authority to set up their operations? So two-part question.
Oh, thank you very much. My very favorite personality, Mr. Habibullah Karim, and also the special guest here, Mr. Matlub Ahmed, and also the other very dignitaries here, the audiences. At the very outset, I pay my respect to the greatest Bengali of all the time, the father of the nation, who led us towards our independence back in 1971. And we achieved the most glorious part of our history, the independence. All our achievements during the last 50 years and in the next decades, centuries, is based upon the independence. We are grateful, pay respect to the father of the nation. I also pay respect to 3 million martyrs who sacrificed their life for our independence. We are also thankful to Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and her Honorable ICT Advisor, Mr. Shajeeb Wajid, who transformed the whole nation within 12 years from a very underdeveloped economy to a middle-income country, a very traditional society to an IT-based economy. And we achieved our first milestone of development, the digital Bangladesh, by 2021. Our per capita income increased nearly 6 times, from little more than $500 to nearly $2,900. And the speed of growth is one of the highest in the world. Right now, nearly 120 million out of our 170 million people are under the broadband coverage. And by next 2 years, we are expecting that almost all the households will be connected to broadband. Big achievement, big shift of paradigm. Nearly 2 million people are working in ICT area, IT area. And we are expecting that the number is going to increase 5 million by next 3 years and 10 million by 2030. At the same time, on the occasion of the achievement of digital Bangladesh by 2021, the next year, 2022, 12th of December, Honorable Prime Minister declared that we are going to start our new endeavor, the smart Bangladesh. We want to be a high-income country. We want to be an innovative country. We want to be a smart country. All the citizens will be smart. The government will be smart. The society and the economy will be smart with the 4 pillars.
Dr. Bikorno, for the sake of time, if you can directly go to the high-tech part.
Thank you very much.
Yes, please. Yes,
and the incentives, why is the change? Because of the policy and the leadership. Right now, the government announced, and the incentives provided by the government is a number. Number one, for all the high-tech parks and the economic zones, the investors are free from all kind of income taxes for 10 years. All the capital machineries you need to set up for your industry set is duty-free. Second. Third, all the high-tech parks and the economic zones are declared as bonded warehouse. It's ready for bonded facility. For all kind of utilities, electricity, gas, water, it's duty-free. You can have the one-stop service. The place you want to apply, that's the single place, single point of contact. And also the online services. These are some of the, not all, that definitely a number of. In a high-tech park, you have the land already protected, ready land, electricity, gas, water. And right now, 12 high-tech parks are operational. 47 high-tech parks are under construction. And by next 5 years, the number in public sector, the high-tech park is going to be nearly 100. The private high-tech parks right now is 20, and it will increase more than the speed of the public sector. For the economic zone concerned, I guess it's 100, already established in public and private sector. So this is one of the policy. Second is the infrastructure. The very, very important 2 areas covered by the government. The result is that very promising companies, international companies, are now willing to invest here. Sony from Japan, already we allotted 30 acres of land in Sylhet. You know, just at the very beginning, Hyundai and Samsung, in a joint collaboration with Fair Group, they started making the vehicles and also different kind of electronics. China, the Huawei and the and other biological company, biotech company, they already started operation in our high-tech parks. US, one data center, the Jatra data center, and one IT innovation hub company, they already started operation in our high-tech parks. From India, the Hiranandani, they are going to set up a very big data center here. There are many examples. So I invite you to come here because we have the manpower, very much competitive and also expert. The government is always with you and will be with the people.
Okay.
So thank you for coming here. Look for Bangladesh for your business, for win-win situation. You'll be winner, government will be winner, our party will be winner. Thank you very much. Joy Bangla, Joy Bangabandhu, Bangladesh, Chirojibi Hok.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Bikorno. So primarily what you said is there, the high-tech park, the industrial parks under the high-tech park authority, they enjoy the same facilities as the export processing zones in Bangladesh. So most foreign investors, they're familiar with BEBZA, they're familiar with the special economic zones, but they may not be so conversant with the facilities provided under the High-Tech Park Authority. So this is a equivalence that will help you understand this. So all facilities that are enjoyed by the export processing zones are also enjoyed by the industries to be set up under the High-Tech Park Authorities. This is number one. Number two is you have ready-made infrastructure, just like those other export processing zones. And what is very heartening to know that the global giants are taking notice. Giants like Sony, Hyundai, Samsung, they are already setting up operations there. And so this is high time that we take this message to all corners of the world for them to come and discover Bangladesh. For our huge skilled labor force, as well as, as we know from our keynote presentation, huge surplus of electricity. So any factories can get enough electricity here. So let me now turn to one major tech company in Bangladesh, the CEO of one major tech company in Bangladesh, Mr. Yasir Azman. So he's the ever youthful and charismatic, business executive from the multinationals. So he has been with GP quite a few years, and in his latest stint, he is now heading the whole operation of the largest mobile phone operator of the country. GP today is becoming more of a data service company than a voice service provider. I remember 15 years ago, one of your former CEOs, Mr. S. Jadal, he declared that 60% of your revenue should come from data and value-added services. I'm sure you probably have already crossed that, so I would like to know from you, where does GP stand today? And where do you see high-tech services of your industry going in a few years? In terms of high-tech transformations happening in Bangladesh, where do you stand? And especially in comparison to countries of similar economic standing.
Yeah, thank you for a very nice introduction. Feels good with this, that is still young and energetic. Assalamu alaikum and greetings from Grameenphone and to all the audiences and panelists here. I think, it's like, I'll just bridge it. I'll tell you the last point, I'll tell you that where we are, but just bridge it what we heard at the beginning of the session when our Honorable Prime Minister mentioned that Uchcho Aay, Unnoto, Somriddho, Udbhavani, Smart Bangladesh, right? So a developed, high income, innovative, smart Bangladesh. And if that is a vision by 2041, without technology is nowhere you can go. Innovation and Somriddho, prosperity, efficiency, and all those things. So there is no doubt on that one. Technology is the answer to that, road we see towards a smart Bangladesh. And we have seen in the service industry, we have leapfrogged. Be it in an MFS industry, we heard about, you talked about, and one of the unicorn in Bangladesh. Earlier it used to be loan. Now people are mobile, through the mobile they are now saving, right? So it's like we are ahead of the game. We are taking it to the marginal population. Look at it, the transport industry now, Uber, Pathao, how they are making our life easier. Look at education industry, that 10-minute school, Shikko, and then GP Academy. All these are actually with the platform of this connectivity. When you're talking about where are we, you introduced very well that we are data service provider. And riding on that data service provider, these service industries are actually really marching fast and with high speed. Now coming to high-tech industry, there are different phases. If I try to relate also with Mr. Mesbah, that initially it's probably assembling. The next is the manufacturing units becoming more autonomous. And then the third stage is probably more connected, IoT, AI-driven. So in all these stages, if it's the end state when we are talking about more 5G, IoT, AI-driven manufacturing unit for automobile industry, it's like we need to, as a telco industry, really need to prepare for that journey. Now, are we there as an ecosystem player? I will now, very briefly, I'll go fast. We have a vision. Vision is set for 2041. We hear a lot of like a good progresses from many angles. And then that vision also comes with a figure, we are talking about billions of dollars. So is this triangle is matching together? You know, that vision with this development in the high-tech park and then delivery on the agenda, you know, real economic benefit out of it. I think that governance, that institutional work to come together, that ecosystem, that the way we are sitting today, that is something probably we really need to see that we are progressing because the vision is so encouraging. If we are not coming together and the institution, the governments are not coming together with the right governance, we will not be able to deliver. Last but not the least is, yes, vision is there. We will reach to that smart Bangladesh goal because we have seen in 1996, we talked about digital connectivity. 2008, we talked about digital Bangladesh. Now, 2021, we are talking about a smart Bangladesh. And one of the pillars are smart economy. We will see that is being delivered. But whether our society is sustainable or not in terms of environment, that is the last thing I need to bring in, where technology, telecom service providers, and everyone will play a role. I think we are getting ready in a sense. We are step by step progressing. As a global, you know, telco service provider, we have partnership in different countries in the advanced markets. We do work with Volvo in Nordic countries, the Telenor works. BMW works with Deutsche Telekom. So we have those best practices, but we need to localize those. You know, and we are building the infrastructure and getting ready. On top of that, we are working on building the skill set, human capital, you know, so that we can deliver on this vision. I'll stop here, if not, yeah, further. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Yasir Azman, for your thoughtful elaboration on where, you know, a multinational like Telenor, through their investment in Grameenphone, has contributed to this telecom industry. And also, one area that you have not touched upon is also your increasing share of local IT services.
Exactly, yeah.
So that is also helping a burgeoning you know, call center and contact center industry in Bangladesh. So that is also helping in the overall ecosystem.
I think 10 seconds I need to talk about this. The way we are seeing the legendary, you know, it's like leaders are here in the manufacturing industry. At the same time, we see in the IT industry and the startup community. Bangladesh is actually having the possibility, all the possibility to leapfrog with all these ecosystem players comes together. You know, it's like all these elements are there already.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. So let me now turn to someone who actually has a holistic view of the technological transformation of this whole region, South Asian region, especially India and Bangladesh. So Mr. Arijit Chakraborty, in his capacity as the lead for tech-led transformation in India and Bangladesh. So I would like to hear from you, Arijit, where do you stand in terms of high-tech services? And where do you see it going in the next few years?
Yes, I think it's...
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Karim, for this gracious introduction. With our humble presence of 150 professionals with PwC Bangladesh, we count ourselves very lucky to be part of this aspirational journey that these enterprises have been achieving and scaling. So with respect to what we have been observing, and I will draw upon some of the manufacturing aspects of it. Broadly, if we see, there are three types of manufacturing and where the convergence is happening with the Industry 4.0. So the first one, we heard about it, the assembly lines, where all the car manufacturing is happening, the electronic capital goods manufacturing is happening. Then the second one is the continuous manufacturing processes, where Bangladesh has already gained quite a bit of progress with respect to steels and cement manufacturing, through which infrastructure is being built. And then the third element is typical high-tech fabrication work, where the chip manufacturing is happening. So if we look with the lens of Industry 4.0, all these are closely connected with each other. And the future of manufacturing will actually be seeing a convergence of all three. Now, what will be the building blocks? If we look from the perspective of geography with the perspective of market, of course, the first one will be the technology, and technology will be working as a very big disruptor. And I can draw an example which is as old as like 50 years ago or maybe 60 years ago, when we used to see steel plants were being manufactured and run by handful of countries, because steel plants required very high capital investments. Steel plants required to be located near where the iron ore is located. And then technology made it happen in a way that today steel plants are meant to be mini steel plants. Steel plants don't require to be closer to the iron ore factory, it can be closer to the market. The same thing is going to happen some of the high-tech manufacturing also in the future. And that's where I think emerging countries such as Bangladesh can actually capitalize most, and how we can do that integration. The second element, we heard about the opportunities that are there with the high-tech park, importance of clusters. In the keynote presentation, we heard about how car assembly is happening and how backward linkages are opening up to create more value creation. The future of manufacturing will be flourishing based on how well we can set up the clusters and how well we can co-locate some of the related sectors, some of the related manufacturing units, some of the related supplier-buyer relationships, and then make it happen. The third one is, of course, the human capital, upskilling of workforce. We have seen that how workforce can do a miracle in the R&D sector, apparel manufacturing. If we can upskill the workforce also with respect to the future of manufacturing, whether it is electric vehicle, whether it is autonomous vehicle, whether it is how to run an autonomous plant, how to run a plant which will be cohabited by robots as well as humans. I think that level of upskilling is the future. And of course, quite a few skill building activities happening, a lot of accelerator programs are running, and the aspirations and ambitions that we have been seeing, I think that's also an achievable goal. And finally, with respect to the logistics and supply chain, how it is built. From an ambition to becoming a self-sufficient nation, whether it is we supply all the mobile phone for ourselves, whether we manufacture all the vehicles for ourselves, to an aspiration to become an exporter in the world, how we scale up. For internal consumption to go up, infrastructure will help us a lot. For export to go up, supply chain will help us a lot. So those are the four basic building blocks that are going to fuel the journey of manufacturing in the future for Bangladesh. And we see a lot of prospects there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Arijit Chakraborty, the managing partner of PwC Bangladesh, for your, I very rightly pointed out he would be able to give a holistic take on this, and he did. So he looked at all the elements that are necessary for this ecosystem to take hold, and overall the upskilling that would be required to cater to this further growth in investments in high-tech industries in the country. So thank you very much, Arijit, for your thoughts on that. Let me now turn to Mr. Prasad Palsokar. He is the Managing Director of Siemens Industrial Bangladesh Limited. So we all know that Siemens has a very long history in Bangladesh and has provided some of the high technologies in telecoms, health tech, and especially industrial automation. So I would like to know from you, Mr. Palsokar, could you please tell us about your perception of industrial automation in Bangladesh? And where does this point to in terms of industrial productivity and opportunities for automation products being manufactured here in Bangladesh?
Thank you. So first of all, thanks to FBCCI and all the stakeholders for this event. I think these forums are very important when we think of $1 trillion economy. if I think of industrial automation per se, Bangladesh has been exposed to a lot of global OEMs because that is how the industry has been sourcing for many years. Of course, that sourcing is limited to industries which are prominent locally at the moment, but there is a huge potential that can be derived out of this concept for across the board industries. So I will, if I look back the second day of this event, the key words or key themes coming out were all about efficiency, productivity, competency, and sustainability. And all these words, when we link these to the automation part, they are, in this context, they are definitely exact fit. I can also relate very much to Matlub Bhai when he says, when I was doing engineering, automobile was part of a mechanical lab. That's how the setup always was 20 years back. Today, automobile and high tech are very much synonymous. And that is also where the global OEMs play a very strong role, because when we say high tech, the industrial automation is very much built into it. So there are two parts when we talk about automation. One is the actual manufacturing part of it, which is what we call as Siemens or as a technology OEM, what we call as from ideation to the realization, or from design to dispatch. So automation is not limited anymore only to the hardware part. Automation starts right from the conceptualization stage. It is how the product is designed, how the assembly is designed, how each component is designed, and all that can be virtualized today. So everything can be virtual. We can significantly reduce errors, assembly engineering, time to market, time to realization of the product, by doing all this automation virtually first and then bringing it to the actual physical assembly line. And that is where, in today's world, automation plays a strong role. Once, if I think of products coming out of factory already, and since we are on automobile topic today, the next role of automation or the global technology OEMs is also in setting up all this infrastructure. So it is, again, conceptualizing how the infrastructure should be. Where is the network required? Where are the charging required? What is the data backbone required? The telecom companies also will play a lot of role in all this virtual world. Where is the actual hardware is to be set up? How it will connect to the users? All this infrastructure is equally important as it is for the traditional industrial automation. And this is always our request to all the manufacturers or to the stakeholders. It is sometimes easy to bring in a technology partner little late in the discussion because it is seen in a traditional way. But in the modern aspect or context, it has to be there right in the beginning. Then only we can really take the efficiency and productivity out of the whole mechanism. Discussing this little late, maybe we are not utilizing it fully. And I would also request, since we have colleagues representing the government as well, that policy has a major role to play in this adoption, because the needs of the users are going to be different. So what the adoption of a commercial e-vehicle infrastructure or manufacturing would need very different incentives, because maybe for them capex is a bigger problem. Most of the transport agencies or transport wings may not have right capex to start with. For a passenger vehicle segment, that need is maybe not capex, it is range anxiety or the infrastructure. For a two-wheeler owner, maybe it is not also the infrastructure, because for him it is the socket at home that he would use or she would use. But for them, the safety, reliability, service are the aspects. So each user would have different needs. Policy has to, of course, drive those incentives for those needs. And we can always, we are in Bangladesh for last 65 years. We can always bring in global learning so that Bangladesh learns. It is an advantage, I would say, that it is, there are countries who are ahead in this cycle, and we can learn from the mistakes and we don't repeat those here. And we can always play a role in that.
So thank you, Mr. Prasad Palsukar. Yes, and thank you for your offer to help with in the area of having segmented or differentiated policy instruments for industrial automation. That's a very, very good thought on that. We are very lucky to have many luminaries from our industry here in this room. I see our MCCI Senior Vice President, Mr. Kamaranti Rahman, the FBCCI co-conveners of this session, Ms. Shomi Kaiser, the President of ECAB, and Mr. Almas Kobir, the President of the Bangladesh Malaysia Chamber of Commerce and Industry. We have the President of Chittagong Chamber here, Mr. Mahbub, and I see Mr. Dewan Sultan Ahmed, former Senior Vice President of FBCCI, former BGMA President, Mr. Pervez, and many others. I'm sorry if I don't recognize all of you by name. But what we would like to actually do is, take questions from you. We have, as you can see, a very stellar, group of speakers here. That doesn't include me, by the way. It's the others who are stellar. But in any case, I would like to, maybe we can take 10 minutes for questions and answers. So if you kindly, I would like to first see how many of you would like to ask a question. Can you raise your hands, those of you who would like to ask a question? Only one? We can probably take 3 or 4. Okay. So Mr. Dewan Sultan Ahmed, can you give me the microphone to him, please? Yes.
Thank you. Actually, this seminar is a very timely seminar, I think, because our Prime Minister declares that Bangladesh will be a smart Bangladesh 2041. And so our people also need the smart vehicles, that is electrical vehicles. So as soon as possible, we should start the manufacturing of the electrical vehicles in Bangladesh. And the two things very important. Number one is development of HR, human resources for the vehicles, and the infrastructure development is for this the backward linkage industry also to be industry important. And so a lot of manufacturers and the dealers are here. I think the government is very much eager to help, and our electric generation is also going very high, and it will be not problem. And for the development of the people and the habituation of the peoples of the electric vehicles, I may request the government to give less duty for importing of electrical vehicles for the time being, to be accustomed by the peoples and to use it.
Beautiful. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. So he has got a suggestion to incentivize electric vehicles if the government can lower the import duties and taxes. So Mr. Matlub Ahmed would like to respond to that particular comment. Yes, go ahead.
Well, thank you very much for raising this issue. Anything new, like our solar lights, home solar lights, the government had given subsidies for the solar homes in the country. Similarly, if you look at electric vehicles in China, India, and many other countries, a lot of benefits to the customers are given to adopt electric mobility. So I'm sure we will work for it. Now, to see a practical example of high-tech and motor industry being blended into a product, we have brought from India, from Tata Motors, one sample of a 100% electric vehicle, which has incorporated all the IT involved in it. It's on display in the stall. Have a look at it, see how the charges, it can charge from your home and how it runs, and you can have some concepts. But definitely, if the government gives support, because electric vehicles are costlier than normal vehicles, That's the reason for people to adopt electric mobility, the governments give support. And definitely, I believe your suggestion could be heard by the government. Thank you.
Thank you. So there was another hand raised in the second row, someone? Yes, please go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
If you will also kindly introduce yourself.
Okay. Basically, my name is Javed Al-Numan. So I'm a supply chain professional, and
Okay.
I've been 16 years in supply chain. So basically, I got the opportunity to come here with my friends from e-commerce. So I have a question related to electric vehicle.
Okay.
So one of the main component of this electric vehicle would be, the battery. So it could be the lead acid battery or lithium battery. So the most of the, we have hundreds types of vehicle on the road in Dhaka and around the country, from Telagadi to, that sedan and jeep. The most of the, the electric vehicles are using lead acid battery, which are very much, harmful to the, environment.
Yes, we are aware of that. Can you
So
please come to the
I
question?
think,
Yes.
my question is to the leaders. What is their plan about to produce or assemble lithium-ion battery for the electric vehicle in Bangladesh?
Okay. So who would like to respond to that? Huh? Acha.
Thank you very much for the question. Actually, it is progressing. It has started with lead acid, but now it is progressing to lithium, and already few companies started manufacturing of lithium battery. And lead acid battery, they are recycling it. It is not actually polluting our society environment. So, and gradually government has taken, after 3 years, it will be out. But again, lithium is not the last. Some other types are also coming. It is in the continuous developing process, so that will continue. Thank you very much.
No, that's the thing is, although I'm not from the automotive or the battery manufacturing industry, but I know that several undertakings are there where not only lithium-ion battery, but even more recent technologies are being used to manufacture batteries. So they will come into the market. Probably they will come on, within a year. Within a year. So you will see a lot of good developments in that area. The point is well taken that the government should provide policies, supports to these new technologies. So there is another hand. Yes, go ahead. I'm coming to you.
Thank you. I am Shahidul Islam, Secretary General of Barbida. So you know the Barbida, we are we are now almost 85% vehicles we are now supplying. Around 950 members in our organization. And
but for the sake of the foreign audience here, if you can also elaborate on Barbida, I think it would be useful. Yes.
Barbida means Bangladesh Reconditions Vehicles Importers and Dealers Association.
Okay, good.
So as a part of automobile policy, I'm very lucky as I was the part of the automobile policy that government did last year. And I really appreciate the keynote speaker today and organizers who make the combination of high-tech and automobiles. So I really thank to you all. One thing I think our trade leaders here is there, they miss the thing that the combination of vehicles industry, of mechanical to electrical, it has been happened in 1996, introducing ECU-based electrical control unit. So in 1996, before that it was a mechanical game, as one panelist said, it was a mechanical. So the development of ECU, it makes a tremendous change in the automobile industry.
Yes, Mr. Shoaib,
and 1996.
We are aware of that gradual incorporation of electronic components in cars. But can you please tell us how we can go forward from today.
Yes,
If you
that's
have a question on that, I think that would be helpful.
Yeah.
Because we have to close by 12. We
Yes.
only have a few minutes.
Yes. My point is that while government is making the policy for making the automobile industry, our trade leaders, who are the importers of different manufacturers, they're importing Euro 2 vehicles. So if there is not a policy making, then there will be no industrialization of modern industries. What I want to mean, like vehicles coming from India, mostly commercial vehicles, there will be no commercial, because the gap between the modern Euro 6, what I want to tell you,
So
Euro 6...
You want policy intervention to promote more recent technology-based vehicles?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
right, okay.
so what I want to say, Euro 6 vehicles, is still now India, they are manufacturing Euro 5 vehicles, Euro 6. And for your information, Euro 7 is the electric vehicles.
Okay, all right.
So we need a ground where the good vehicles will come, and there is a duty gap. One thing I want to say, that 2 million passenger vehicles, altogether 10 million, what we say, the total population. 2 million is passenger and SUV and others commercial vehicles. But how the duty gap is now 127% to 825% duty. So it's a very positive for industrialization.
Okay, beautiful. I think we got your point on that. So you want some policy interventions in that area. We'll have to work with the government. There are already policies, but we need to further upgrade those policies. Thank you very much, Mr. Shreed. So, Mr. Kamranti Rahman, ji.
Thank you very much, Mr. Habibullah Karim, for giving me this opportunity. I'm going to ask you a very brief question. It'll be very brief. The question is, by when do you foresee electric vehicles being taken into agriculture? That is, by when do you think we might be able to assemble or manufacture EV tractors and trucks to go into agriculture, so that everything from farm to fork, we use EVs? Thank you very much.
Beautiful. So someone like to respond to that? Commercial vehicles, EV commercial vehicles.
Well, if you look at the people who have adopted electric mobility, already EV electric tractors are in the market. Electric everything is in the market, buses, trucks, pickup. It's only that we are a bit late in adopting electric mobility. The idea of having this program today is to tell the world that Bangladesh also wants to change, and change to electric mobility added to the high tech. Thank you.
Mr. Yasir Azman would also like to complement this particular point. Please go ahead.
Thank you. I'm not from automobile industry. I cannot say by when, but I can tell you last 2 weeks back I was in Dinajpur, and I was wondering to see in our agricultural field, you know, that sprinklers is distributing the water. And you know that North Bengal was Monga at that 10 years back. And today there is no human capital available to distribute water. And then when I started talking to them, they said that one day this water, whether is enough or not, the technology will tell us. If there is enough water, then they automatically stopped. The drone will come for the fertilizer. And these distribution are so good, the production will increase. This is from a farmer in Dinajpur. So time is not that far that this will happen in Bangladesh.
Thank you for that observation, Mr. Yasir Azman. Yes, I believe the adoption of technology is not only in urban areas. In rural areas also we see a lot of development, a lot of adoption of high tech. There is a lady in the back, but before I come to you, I would also like to find out, Mintubai, you don't have any questions? We have the chairman of Uttara Group here. But Mintubai, after the lady, we have to give the lady the floor first. Yes.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Zarin Marjan Khan. I'm from ECAB, Women Entrepreneur Forums. I'm one of the vice presidents. So my question is, what is the future of electric bike in Bangladesh, as it is not permitted in city area? So I would love to ask to the sir from the runner group if he can say something.
So Mr. Hafizur Rahman.
Policy is ongoing. Policy is not yet announced. So in the policy, we'll get everything, and definitely it will run on the city. Definitely.
Electric two-wheelers, bikes or motorbikes?
Any time frame or something like that, sir?
Madam, electric bikes, electric two-wheelers are already in the market. The government is now deciding how to register it and how to make it popular. Already people have started using it. So inshallah, very soon, I would say very soon, within 2-3 months, we'll find all these laws in place. Thank you.
Beautiful. Okay. So that's going to be a huge relief for the e-commerce purveyors of the country. Beautiful. So Mintu Bhai, please. So we also have the current president of DCCI here. Mintu Bhai is a former president of DCCI. But Mr. Sattar, would you like to ask a question afterwards, or you're okay? All right. Mintu Bhai, please go ahead.
Good afternoon to everybody. I'll make a very short point for you. One thing I would like to say, presently the industrial policy for automobile is not at all friendly for the investment. We need a more positive and friendly policy for industrialization of automobile, because the market is not so big. So we have to make our investment viable so that more foreign investment come into Bangladesh. At the moment, foreign investors are not very interested to come into Bangladesh because of the volume is so small, and making passenger car or anything is very expensive. Investment is very big. So this is one point. We need to rewrite our industrial policy for the automobile industry. Number two, in the country, we do not have any recycle policy of the batteries. Either recycle battery or lead acid, or even the lithium batteries. So we need to have an immediate policy for recycle these batteries. Because let me point it out, when we import a hybrid car, we have to give an undertaking and bank guarantee that we will send back these batteries to Singapore for recycle. And we have to pay for that transportation and recycling. So it's going to happen in the near future. We have to send back all our batteries to Singapore recycle. So we must have a recycle policy immediately.
Okay.
And there's a very good opportunity for investment.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mintu Bhai. Let me invite Mr. Abdul Muttalib Ahmed to respond to the first question regarding the policy framework for automotive industry, and also how the new policies that are being drafted, what is the direction in the policy making?
Thank you, Mintu Bhai, for raising this question. As president of the Bangladesh Automobile Manufacturers Association, Obama, we have taken this up with the government. You see, unless there is policy support, no industries can succeed. And today, if you look at vehicle prices in our country, it's almost double or redouble of the price just across the border in India. You can pay 4 lakh rupees and you can get a decent car, a brand new car in India. But can we get it in Bangladesh? No. That is the reason of FBCCI's program today, this seminar, is to raise these issues, that there is huge investment opportunities in this area. Be it electric vehicles, be it IT-based vehicles, be it the lithium battery, we have a huge investment opportunity in this country. And not only domestic, but also exports is coming very soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Muttalib Bhai, for clarifying that point. Almas is here. He wants to ask a question. I also see Sami, the current managing director of Startup Bangladesh Company Limited. Sami, if you have a question, I can give you the floor. Otherwise, we'll finish with Almas's point. Almas, go ahead.
Thank you. I just will make a comment. This is wonderful that we have started assembling automobiles and high-tech other industries like home appliances, electronic consumer goods. But you see, you all know that when India started making Maruti cars in collaboration with Suzuki, way back in 1981, they had given, the government gave a target to indigenize the entire 100% by 10 years. So by phases, they would indigenize the parts, they would start making them in India. They achieved it in 8 years before the deadline. So unless we have those kind of targets, that when we can actually go from assembly into manufacturing, then really the other peripheral industries will not grow. Typically, as we know, that a passenger vehicle has about 8,000 to 10,000 parts. I'm talking about small, little, even like plastic parts. So we can start manufacturing those plastic parts, even small, like a handle or the dashboard or something. But the challenge is, I was actually talking to Uttara Motors chairman. He was telling me that it is not feasible because we do not have the volume. So if we want to manufacture one plastic handle or a brake light, it is not feasible because we do not have the volume. So in that case, my proposal is to start manufacturing for the parent company. So if you are assembling Suzuki or a Tata, why don't you convince Suzuki that, okay, we will make this indicator light in Bangladesh for our factory and also supply to the parent company. Okay. So this is the approach that we must take, and policy has to be made accordingly.
Thank you, Mr. Amla Skobir, for a very thoughtful suggestion. In fact, before the session started, I was actually talking to the chairman of Runner Group exactly on this point, that we need to increase the value addition, local value addition in our automobile manufacturing. But he said something which is very optimistic. He said that already for some of the products, the value addition is as high as 60%, but not for across the board. So we hope that somewhere along the way, with the correct policy push, we can also reach 90% plus value addition in the automotive industry, and the concomitant investments and technology transfers, we can achieve that in the next 10 years or so. So I think we are already over our allocated time. So I want to thank you all for attending this session, which is a very important session because high-tech is the way to go if Bangladesh wants to become a smart Bangladesh and a developed economy by 2041. Our export basket is still dominated by apparels. Our export basket has to be dominated by high-tech products by 2041. So that transition has to start now. And you are the one in this room who can make this happen. So on a lighter note, I want to end with a small story that I used to tell my friends at Yale back almost 40 years ago when I went to college there. And this story actually is regarding three friends. Of course, one friend is from Bangladesh, that was me. One friend from USA, and one friend from UK. So they were all sitting together having coffee and discussing or trying to boast which country is the most technologically advanced. So the American says that, our archaeology department, they started digging and they found copper wire 10 meters under the ground. So we both asked, what does that mean? Oh, copper has been in use for at least 200 years in the United States. We're a very technologically advanced country. So then my UK friend said, oh, that's nothing. We kept digging and digging. We found copper wire 100 meters below the ground. So that means, we have been using copper wire for 1,000 years. I said, wow, that's great. So I kept quiet, so they kept looking at me and said, you guys, you don't probably use wire. You are absolutely right. We kept digging and we kept on digging. We kept digging up to 1,000 meters. Still, we could not find any copper wire. And you know why? Because we have been using wireless technology for 1,000 years. So from that land, we want to leapfrog into the high-tech industries of Bangladesh. And that's where we want to. And in fact, although I said this as a joke, but we actually did that in Bangladesh when we made the quantum leap to mobile phones instead of waiting for landline phones to take hold in Bangladesh. So with that note, we want to make the quantum leap into all the high-tech industries in Bangladesh. And as I said, together with our foreign collaborators, foreign investment partners, inshallah, the people in this room, we will be on that journey together. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
I would like to thank our dais members for being a part of today's discussion and would like to request to stay on the dais as we will now begin the handover of the crests. I would like to request our convener for this session, Ms. Shomi Kaiser, Director, FBCCI, to come over to the stage and begin the handover of the crests to our esteemed panel members. Thank you. I will request Ms. Shomi Kaiser to hand over the memento of appreciation to our guest of honor of today's session, Mr. Abdul Matlab Ahmed, former President, FBCCI. Now I will request Ms. Shomi Kaiser to hand over the crest to MD Yasir Aman, Chief Executive Officer, Grameenphone. Now I would like to request MD Habibullah Don, Vice President, FBCCI, to come over to the stage and hand over the crest to our esteemed panel members. I would also like to request Mr. M.A. Razak Sir, Vice President, FBCCI, to come over to the stage. I will request Mr. Habibullah Don, Vice President, FBCCI, to hand over the crest to Mr. Arijit Chakraborty, Senior Partner, PwC Delhi. Now, I would like to request MD Habibullah Don to hand over the memento of appreciation to Mr. Hafizur Rahman Khan, Chairman, Runner Group. I would like to request Mr. Habibullah Don to present the crest to our session chair and moderator, Mr. Habibullah Karim, Chief Executive Officer, Techno Haven. I would also like to request to hand over the crest to our next panelist, Mr. Prasad Palsolkar, Chief Executive Officer, Siemens Industrial Limited. I would now like to request MD Habibullah Don to hand over the crest to Dr. Bikaner Kumar Ghosh, former Managing Director, Bangladesh High Tech Park Authority. I would now like to request Mr. M.A. Razak, Vice President, FBCCI, to hand over the memento of appreciation to our keynote speaker for this session, Mr. Mohammad Mesbauddin, Chief Executive Officer, FD Fair Group. I would also like to request to hand over the crest to Mr. Arijit Chakraborty, Senior Partner, PwC Delhi. With that, our today's panel session comes to an end. I would like to thank all the audiences for being a part of this discussion. Our session was on investing in the future of manufacturing, opportunities in automobile, and high-tech manufacturing in Bangladesh. Our next session, titled SMEs Development, Leveraging SMEs for Vibrant Supply Chain Linkage and Productivity Spillovers, will begin shortly in Carnival. Thank you.
Thank you to all the panelists, the keynote speaker, and the guest of honor and the moderator for the wonderful session. We would like to take a formal picture now, and the next session will begin. Thank you so much. Karim bhai, our guests had many more questions, but we didn't ask. Thank you so much. We want to ask my colleague, co-convener, Ranu bhai, to come on the stage. Thank you so much.
I would like to request all the audience and panel members to join for the networking tea arranged in the premises of this hall. Thank you.